Hi everyone, Michael Quinn here, and in this video I interview Derrick Tulali. Derrick is an SEO guru, and he runs a search engine optimization firm in Reno, Nevada. Derrick works primarily with small businesses throughout the Nevada area, but also throughout the United States. And I asked him to come on today to talk to us about some of the top SEO ranking factors that he's seeing in 2019, and also some of the trends that he's noticing are helping his clients get more customers. In this interview, Derrick's going to talk about a few things such as mobile friendliness and having strong calls to action on your website. But most importantly, it's our job as SEO professionals and you as a business owner to connect the viewer with these three things: who you are, what you do, and where you're located, as simple as possible. If you can do those things and do them well, you will win. I trust Derrick's opinion greatly because he's been a mentor to me in my own journey as an SEO professional. And in fact, him and I hop on a call once a month to talk about what's working for him and what's working for me. And we collaborate, or you might consider it masterminding. So I really hope you get a ton of value out of this interview. Derrick, thanks so much for joining me. Why don't you start out by just telling our audience a little bit about yourself, your business, and maybe a peek into your personal life?
Okay, yeah. So I own a company called Acute SEO, which is a online digital marketing company specializing in search engine optimization. I got into this as a result of selling credit card processing as my career initially. So for those of you who don't know what that is, it's just setting up credit card machines for businesses. And really kind of found my passion in just helping businesses get new customers. And so, that's kind of where everything started, but this is where it's kind of evolved to. Personally, on my side, I enjoy golfing. I also just got a little bit of a off-roading niche, so I got a little Jeep, so we go off-roading and check out the Sierras because we're out here in Reno, Nevada. So we're right in the backyard of Tahoe, so it kind of gives us some stuff to do on the side. And then I'm married. I have a new little puppy, so we're really stoked about that. So that's pretty much a little bit about, me.
Tell me a little bit about what your business looks like in terms of your team, maybe what you specialize in.
Yeah, I have about 4 full-time employees, and then I have most of my other work is subcontract. And then ultimately, our focus is search engine optimization, and we can kind of go into what that is. And then we also have some additional services that we provide to kind of just add value to those core services.
Well, that leads me right into the next question. Why don't you kind of describe to me and the audience what your definition of search engine optimization is?
Yeah, it's really a process of getting a business to basically effectively be found on the first page of search engines like Google, Bing, and Yahoo. And, one of the main benefits of why we really kind of decided to go in this direction is, with other marketing channels available, the challenge is it's considered what they call interrupt marketing. So ultimately, someone who views an ad doesn't necessarily know that they want to do business with you, but you're hoping that with enough impressions, with enough brand awareness, that ultimately they'll pull the trigger. But really what you're doing is you're planting the seed that they need your services. That doesn't really make it so that they actually find you. What they first do once they actually need that service is go look it up on what we all say, Google. So what our position on that is, why not catch people at the very moment that they're ready to buy? And they're very there are some elements that we have to put in place to make sure that they do convert into a new customer for our clients. But the first and foremost point is making sure that when someone does search for those services, that they're actually being found on search results. So for example, I always explain to my clients, well, if you had a leak in your faucet and you needed a plumber out here right now, what's the first thing you're going to do if you don't already know somebody? Like, well, I'm just going to Google it. Well, what would you put in Google in order for you to find, a plumber? Well, easy. Yeah. I would just put plumber near me or plumber in my city. And I said, that's exactly what your customers are doing when they're looking for your services. So that's really our position is, our goal is to help our clients connect to their own customers
Sure.
through search. So
I think you put that beautifully. So in 2019, what are the most important SEO factors for a local small business?
I think for one and foremost, I think that, you have to have a website. I think that's one of the things that's overlooked. And when I say a website, I mean, update it. It needs to be a little bit more appealing than something that may have been built in the 1990s. Also, people are searching on their mobile phones, and if they can't view your website clearly on their mobile device, they're just going to go right off to your competitor. So I think that would be definitely some basic things that you can really start taking a look at now. And then to kind of get into a little bit more detail is, it's one thing to be found on Google. It's another thing to convert your customers from an online prospect to an actual customer. So have your call to actions in place in your website, schedule your consultations or call now buttons visible throughout your website so that once they get the kind of information that they know that you can provide them, that they'll know what to do as far as taking the next steps with your business.
Let's dive into that calls to action topic because I too have been, exploring and really putting more emphasis on that because it's one thing, we know this, Derrick, that, to get your customer found, but then there is that next component of having to get the customer to convert. And back in the day, I didn't put so much thought into this. I thought, if you just got people to the site, that would be enough. But you can make drastic differences by just having some of those call to actions or things that help the customer convert. What are some things that you've seen work lately?
Well, actually, I'll just kind of give myself's website an example because I, much like you, have had that challenge. And, one of the things that I've kind of noticed is that people decide to do business with, service providers in different ways. Some people don't want to call. They don't want to talk to somebody. Someone doesn't want to take the time to necessarily fill out a form. And so you kind of have to have like something for everyone. So you'll often see like chat boxes on websites, or you'll just see a calendar. Like that's the most recent implementation that I've embedded on my website is just an easy booking system where ultimately they pick a time that works for them. You schedule out, let's say, a 45-minute consult. They know that that's about the window of time that you're going to take, and they just put themselves on your calendar. Of course, with different businesses, depending on their objective, will be kind of one of the things that's going to be the determining factors on what those call to actions will be. But, I think that the most important is if you're a local business, have your phone number visible, and also make sure that your web designer has made those phone numbers an actual click to calls as opposed to just trying to figure out how to remember that and jumping back and forth between your browser and your dial pad on your phone. So, I mean, those are some of the most simple things that you can do to make a huge impact on, calls to your business. And then ultimately, having a form, a simple form. Too much information, I mean, it's not like you need, they're filing for a credit report unless, they are. But in this particular scenario, their name, their email, a little bit about what they're interested in, and a message box. Let's not get crazy.
So before we hopped on the video, you had mentioned kind of your 4 factors of SEO, on page, off page, technical, and mobile, I believe. Would you want to expand on those 4 things?
So yeah, so as far as the optimization side, so I did mention kind of like what search engine optimization is, but then as far as us as search engine optimization specialists, there are elements that we look at when we're implementing the optimization, right? So we call it in the back end on page, which is one, everything that has to do with the content on your website. That includes the pictures, your website address. It can include, the content and everything that you see on your actual domain. Then off page, on the other hand, is everything that's done that's not on your website. So for example, we might list you on online directories, like Google Maps or, Yelp or MapQuest. Those would be considered off-page SEO because it does help the credibility of your website, but it has nothing to do with what I'm doing on your website, right? So hence off-page. And then technical SEO is ultimately, once we've done your on-page and a little bit of your off-page, then we want to kind of let Google know that your website exists and the changes we've made on it. So what we'll do is we'll submit what we call a sitemap, which is just basically a map of all the pages that are on your website and the recent changes that we've made on your website. If that hasn't been done already, otherwise, what we'll do is we'll track your analytics. So we'll set up analytic codes so that we can help you determine how many clicks and impressions you're getting on your website. And then mobile SEO is as simple as that. It kind of goes back to my whole point earlier. Oftentimes you run into businesses that the most simple aspect of correcting their optimization is the fact that they just haven't updated their website recently. So mobile SEO is just ensuring that everything fits on a mobile device without you having to zoom in, zoom out, and create a bad customer experience. So, I mean, kind of to encapsulate my whole kind of perspective on search engine optimization is, I would say, let's just look at it from Google's point of view. What is Google's job? Google's job is to connect the searcher with the best search result possible. That doesn't mean we're going to be going out there and manipulating algorithms and things like that we're going to use in this chart, in our industry to confuse our customers. What it really is my job, your job, is to make that website tell Google and your customer who you are, what you do, and where you do it. That's it.
Oh, I couldn't have said it any better. So what is, aside from that, and maybe you've already answered it, but if you could name one thing that a business could do on their own that would help their rankings, what would that one thing be?
Okay, aside from having a website, right?
Yes.
So they have one, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The one thing is go get your Google Maps listing. Make sure it's optimized. In other words, go, if you haven't seen that, that's basically that little map pack that you see in search results. Those results there, we call those a Google Maps listing. Every business can get one of those. It's free if you don't already have one. However, if you do have one, fill it out to completion. Add as many photos in there as possible. Put a description in your business. Make sure that your hours of operation is always updated. If you're not open on holidays, indicate that. And then also be proactive about acquiring reviews on that particular listing. I would say that if that alone was the only thing that you did, I think that would propel you into a massive, boost in your business if that was the only thing you did.
Well, thank you so much. So we're kind of wrapping up here, Derrick. So why don't you tell me and our audience just a little bit more about what your ideal customer looks like, who you can help the most, and how about how people can get a hold of you?
So our ideal customer is one where we can kind of get, our main focus is making sure that our clients get a return on their investment. So, with service companies like ourselves, we typically charge a monthly retainer for our services. And what I typically look for is a business that can justify that retainer with one or two customers a month. So, average ticket more like, in the $500 to $1,000 per customer range. My company, you can reach out to me at acuteseo.com. And ultimately, that's just pretty much all there is about me. So
I'm going to leave you with this question. If we're ever in Reno, what would you recommend that we do while we're in town?
Well, I would say go to Lake Tahoe. I think that I wouldn't recommend gambling. That's really what we do here. But I mean, you have gambling. But ultimately, I would definitely go and take a look at Tahoe. It's only like a 45-minute drive.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Derrick.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Michael, for having me.
I hope you got some great nuggets from this interview. Some of the biggest takeaways that I got weren't so much even SEO related as they were to more like website functionality. I appreciated that Derrick talked a lot about just having strong calls to action on your website. You know, just like in sales, we need to be asking for the sale. And the same goes for you on your website. It's one thing to get people to your website. It's another thing to convert them. So we need to be looking for those opportunities for, you know, a form fill, a phone call, whatever it is that you consider a conversion. We need to be, you know, not shying away from that. And then the greatest, oh man, and I'm going to steal this quote from Derrick, but I love it. He said, you know, it's Google's job to connect the searcher with the best result possible. But it's our job as SEO experts and you as a business owner to tell the customer who you are, what you do, and where the heck you're located as simple as possible. And if you can do those things really well and let Google know that you do those things really well, or let Google know that you do those things, you're gonna win part of the battle and you'll have a much stronger leg up in your SEO journey and in your marketing journey in general. If you want to connect with Derrick, his information is going to be in the description below. And if you're ever in Reno, Nevada, look him up. But also, don't forget to check out Lake Tahoe as he recommended. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, click the subscribe button. And when you see that bell pop up, click that too, and you'll get notified every time I post a new video. We'll see you in the next one.